My name is Nhi and I'm now 17 years old. I'm from Vietnam and I'm now living and studying in Norway. It was really long time ago that one of my best teacher, he was in a tour in Vietnam and he was invited to play with the Vietnam Symphony Orchestra. And also after that he opened a master class and we just by chance and come and play. And then after that he just came and asked me like, would you like to be in Norway and study? So why not when it's free and it's, you know, we get a good environment and yeah, so I got a full scholarship from him and the Norwegian government, and so I keep for those first year I start to, because I'm too young, so my parents they would like me to stay in Vietnam for a little bit more, so I kind of travel 2 times in a year, once in the summer and once in the winter. And then two years ago I start my whole year exchange student and studying in Norway. My normal schedule is that's, you know, it's quite busy, so I have to think and calculate what I should do in every day. So I usually wake up like quite early in the morning, and then I start to take the boats to the city, and then take a bath and walk for a bit more. It was quite long from my house to the school, so I better go there in the morning so I can spend time and study and practice, and then I came home in quite late in the evening. So, and then I have many class in one day, and also I spend my time on practicing, and sometimes I learn the Norwegian language. I started to play the violin when I was 4 years old. It was quite fun, and you know, I didn't think about following professional, but I was just playing for fun. Both my parents are violinists, and they don't work in the same place. My mother, she works in the Vietnam Symphony Orchestra, and also she's a concertmaster there. And my father, he's a teacher in the Vietnam National Academy of Music. The food from Norway and Vietnam is absolutely different. In Norway, people tend to be living very simple, and like they can have a cup of coffee and a bread or a sandwich for lunch. That's all, and they start their work, and in the evening they can have very simple dining, like salmon, potato, and cucumbers, and sauce, and it's really simple life, and it's really different. That's our food is a lot of things on the table, and you can eat like 5-6 dishes, but we tend to share food, like each person take a little bit than in most of country in Europe or America, like each person have one dish, so it's quite different. My schedule is quite busy, so I always have to calculate about practicing, and it means that I can't practice much. And normally I practice about 4 to 6 hours only, because, you know, and my point is that's saving my energy for the whole day long, so I kind of use my brain and you know, do things that my teacher wants to do, practice those important things, and you know, just working very concentrating. I know that we have to practice a lot, but actually if we work by brains, I mean, if we use our mind and really concentrate, then the progress will go faster than you just practice so many hours and you waste your energy, you waste your time, and you should have some fun actually in those time. I mean, it's important to practice to be good, but maybe use, you know, a little bit more serious, so you kind of it go faster, and you will see that you don't need too much. All of us all start with not a really good instrument, because we all came from a very poor country. I mean, I talked about before and long time ago that we just came from war, and I mean we need a lot of time to build up our country, so people kind of care about life and how to survive more than enjoying the very high quality, or how to select the musical, how to enjoy it. So people didn't pay a lot of attention to instruments, or so that's why we can only get like enough quality, you know, it's kind of good enough to play with all the people, like we get same rank, and you know, so but since my mother works in the orchestra, that's she's sitting in her seats, and she doing a lot of hard work, so she got a new violin, and it was good enough. I think it was not like Stradivarius or a very expensive, very old one, very good, but she feels happy about it, because for her opinion, that's the most important thing, is how you play it. Like sometimes people pay more attention to how you play than how your instrument is. I have had my violin for some years ago, like 4 years ago. It was quite good actually, but it was not a very high standard violin. So I mean, if you want it to be like sound like violinist, soloist, then you better have another one than the one I'm using. But I really like it, because you know, it's my friend, it's traveling with me and it play with me. I play it and I spend time, and I quite happy about it. When I start to buy a violin, then absolutely that it can be with a bow, but I'll have to see if the bow is good enough or not. So I try it, and if I like it, I can keep it with me. But if I prefer another one, then I can go around the shop and try some other one, or I should go to another shop and try those others that are better and with a good price. Because you know, some bows are really good, but they're actually really cheap. Then some are really expensive, but you need a lot of time to work with it, so you get used to it. And for me, that's each person has a different body type, and their hands are different. Somebody gets softer, and somebody gets harder, and somebody get better left hand or better right hand when playing. So it's kind of their choice. For me, I like the violin to be, the instrument to be good enough. So, and then I spend my time to find another bow, maybe. This is my first time to America. I love America. It has so many things. It is a wonderful country. You have so great air. I love the food, and the view is so green and so nature that you can see a lot of horses, or geese, or bunnies, or lots of interesting animals, and the skies are blue, and it's really peaceful. Like you just came from a very rushing, very hardworking, and you just concentrate on how your work is. And now you are in another country that's another type of environment, and you're kind of shocked because, oh, this is my happiness. You just see it, and you love being there. And for me, the environment and the weather in Norway is quite interesting. It's really like you can get a lot of different type of weather in one day. Like it can be sunny, and after that it can be a little bit rainy, and then a bit cold, and then it became hot and more sunshine, And then like I think sometimes it has the same weather like Colorado, but in the winter it can be colder, and I don't think it can be cold like for the whole year. And it's really hot actually in the summer, like in July, June, yeah, August. It can be very sunny, and it's sun the whole day, and you get like 5 hours dark only. It's really interesting. The weather in Vietnam is totally different because you get it extremely hot, and it can be humid. It's not dry like in America or Norway. It's really like you can feel you are sweating, and you always need an air condition or a fan because you won't get so hot in the summer. But I think in the winter it can be very cold. In Vietnam, people do learn English when they are still little. I mean, it's just a new new change from like 10 years ago that children start to learn English when they are small. So they kind of get used to it, and they're quite good on speaking English. So you can see like it's really easy for people to come to Vietnam for tour, and it's really easy to ask anybody. Like you can ask them about the road, street, or food, which restaurants are good enough. And I think like for me the language is amazing. That sometimes I don't have to think about my language. I can definitely understand about English, and I think about it like it's just my own language. Like I didn't think about Vietnamese. It's just automatically that I understand, and then automatically I can translate to Vietnamese very easy. I started to learn Norwegian quite late, you know. I started learning last year, so it's kind of different to English. And for me, it's more difficult because I didn't learn early, and the grammatic you have to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like in the positions, not like Vietnamese. Then you can switch the phrase or say different things, and you know sometimes it gets similar to English a lot, and then I think it's easier to learn English with Norwegian than learn from Vietnamese to Norwegian. My favorite composer, I don't think I really get one because everyone is so amazing and they have their own style that when you listen to and you really like, oh, I love this composer, oh, I love this one. But maybe for me, like the one that's go like makes me a lot of, you know, express and lots of feeling, that can be Sibelius. I also like Beethoven and Mozart, Bach, Brahms, like classical or can be baroque composer, romantic or modern composers. I mean, they are all amazing that you can try to listen and play. For me, that the music is very, very interesting. That it has all the color. That it has many types, like pop and rock or classical music or dance music, R&B, country song, jazz. And actually my parents, when they were young, they have had to go to restaurants and play all types of music to make money. So because Vietnam was very poor country back then, so they have had to work for, you know, they played for those restaurants, or Italian restaurants or French, or so they kind of like it and they get used to it. So when I was born or before it, so my mom played a lot of kind of music, so I kind of like, you know, being like her, that I like all type of music. I can listen to pop music or rock sometimes if I like jazz, country songs, all type of music. I have a younger brother and he's younger than me, 6 years old, and he's now, I mean, he's the only person in the house that he doesn't do the music. He can play a little bit funny violin, but he tends to be an artist that he likes to paint and doing some acrylic arts, and you know, he won his way, because both my parents are violinists, so they kind of like, oh, maybe we should just let her play violin, so they get a good experience on it, so they will not be confused on teaching me how to play violin. So I started with the violin. That's the normal thing. And I kind of like piano. I sometimes, I just do funny thing on it, but still, I mean, the violin has been with me since I was small. This is my first bachelor year in Baradu Music School, which school I'm going to in Norway. And not only for studying violin solo, I also have some extra classes like ear training or music history, some kind of like conducting sometimes, and yeah, and all of them are really interesting. I have to study all class in Norwegian, and it's kind of big challenge because I just learned the language and it's so far so hard. So I mean, it's gonna be fine. But I have been visiting there for many times. But last year I started to study like an exchange program. So I started my bachelor this year. So it sounds like 1 year, like one first year, but you already got lots of experience from those years before. We have had a rehearsal last night, and it was really amazing. Mr. West Kenny, he was so friendly, and he's so good, and he was so fast, and he's so fast on understanding, and he's so smiling, and he makes us comfortable, and we enjoyed working with him a lot. And the symphony was really amazing. Like, everyone was so, they're so warm and they're open. And first I came in and they smiled to me, and I feel like they are just they're so open, and you get very easy to work with, and they really good on playing. That's definitely, everyone is good and they're working hard, and I really love it. I'm really looking forward for the Saturday night. I always have to prepare very good before I'm going to the stage, so I don't get nervous. Or like, since first time I was so small, I've been on stage, and I was really like it than being nervous and quit it. It's kind of, it's interesting to be on stage and play. I really, I'm actually really careful before the concerts. So I learned it, and I heard from newspapers or watching like some accidents on stage. So always, me and my family always prepare very good before you go on stage. Like, always I change all the strings before big concerts, like 1 week or 5 days, so it never get happen. Or check everything and change the hair of the bow, and and always I ask the tailor to get a very good dress. Like, everything has to be fixed and nothing's gonna happen, and like I always choose a good one, and I kind of make everything very perfectly.